You sat down in your kitchen chair this morning, both hands pressing into your thighs as you lowered yourself. And you probably didn't even notice you did it. That little push, that tiny brace with your palms. You've been doing it for maybe 2 or 3 years now, and somewhere along the way you started telling yourself that's just what getting older feels like. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Nobody at the pharmacy counter or the supplement aisle is going to tell you that hand on the thigh habit isn't aging. It's a warning light. And the thing most men between 65 and 85 do in response to that warning light is exactly backward. They sit more, they move less. They buy the cushioned recliner, the grabber stick, the $39 lift assist seat cushion off the shopping channel, and they think they're being smart. They're not. They're feeding the very thing that's stealing their independence. I want to be straight with you in the first 90 seconds, because that's a promise I make. By the end of this video, you're going to know 6 specific movements you can test tonight in your own living room with nothing but a chair, a wall, and the floor you already own. No gym, no trainer at $75 an hour, no machine. And if you can still do all 6, you are genuinely in rare company, because the data on aging strength is brutal, and most men your age can't do half of them anymore without knowing why. The good news is the why is fixable, and the fix is cheaper and faster than almost anything you've been sold. Let me name the villain plainly. The villain is the idea that decline is automatic, that after 65, losing your legs, your grip, your balance, and your ability to get up off the floor is just the natural order of things, like leaves falling. That belief is worth billions of dollars to industries that profit when you stop moving. Think about it. A mobility scooter runs anywhere from $900 to $3,000. A stairlift installation can hit $4,000 to $15,000. Assisted living averages around $5,000 a month in much of the country, and memory care can run double that. Every one of those businesses does better when you accept that your body is finished. But your body isn't finished. There's a documented thing happening, and it has a name: sarcopenia. It's the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. Research published through the National Institutes of Health has shown adults can lose roughly 3 to 8% of their muscle mass per decade after age 30, and that loss accelerates after 60. Here's the part they bury. That loss is driven far more by disuse than by birthdays. Bedrest studies on older adults have shown people losing significant leg strength in a matter of days when they stop moving. Days, not years. Days. So the recliner isn't comfort. The recliner is a slow-motion accelerator, and the hand on the thigh push you did this morning is your nervous system quietly routing around weak muscles, hoping you won't notice the weakness until it's an emergency on a bathroom floor. Now let me tell you where the better idea comes from, because it isn't new, it's old. Go to Okinawa, Japan, one of the places researchers have studied for longevity for decades, and you'll see something Western nursing homes have nearly forgotten. You'll see people in their 80s and 90s sitting down on the floor and standing back up multiple times a day without using their hands. Not because they're doing exercise, because they live close to the floor. They eat low to the ground, they garden squatting on their heels. An older woman tending a small vegetable plot in a coastal village isn't thinking about her quadriceps. She's just living in a way that forces her to keep the movement she was born with. Same thing in rural parts of Sardinia, Italy, another long-life region, where older men walk steep terrain to tend animals well into their 80s. They never sat down in a chair for 40 years and called it rest. The floor and the hill did the work that a $2,000 machine pretends to do. Here's the mechanism. In plain language, the part your doctor has 11 minutes to skip. Strength isn't just muscle bulk, it's the connection between your brain and the muscle fibers. After 60, you don't just lose muscle size, you lose the fast nerve signals that fire muscles quickly. That's why an older man can be perfectly capable of slowly lifting a bag of groceries but cannot catch himself when he trips on a curb. The slow strength survived, the fast strength rotted from disuse, and it's the fast strength that prevents the fall that breaks the hip that, statistically, is one of the most dangerous events in an older person's life. The numbers around hip fractures in older adults are grim, with elevated mortality in the year following, and a huge share of those fractures trace back to a fall that a stronger, faster body would have shrugged off. So when I give you these 6 tests, understand what you're really testing. You're testing whether your brain can still talk to your muscles fast enough to keep you alive and free. Let's go through them. Get a sturdy chair, the kind at your kitchen table, not a wheeled office chair, not a soft couch. have a wall nearby, wear shoes with grip or go barefoot on a non-slick floor. And if you have a serious heart condition, severe arthritis, a recent surgery, or you've fallen recently, do these next to a counter you can grab and talk to your doctor first. I'm not here to get you hurt. I'm here to wake you up. The first test is the sit to stand without hands. You sit in that kitchen chair, feet flat, arms crossed over your chest, and you stand all the way up and sit all the way back down 5 times in a row. No hands, no momentum bouncing off the seat. There's a reason I'm starting here. A version of this is used clinically, sometimes called the 5 times sit to stand, and researchers have published rough time benchmarks where taking longer than about 12 to 15 seconds for those 5 reps is associated with higher fall risk in older adults. So time yourself. If you can do 5 clean stands in under about 11 or 12 seconds with arms crossed, your legs and your nervous system are talking. If you have to plant your hands on your thighs even once, that's the warning light I mentioned at the start blinking right in front of you. Don't panic. Note it. We fix it later. The second test is the single leg balance. Stand near a counter, lift one foot a few inches off the ground, and see how long you can stand on the other leg without grabbing anything and without the lifted foot touching down. Then switch. There's published work, including a study that got a lot of attention, suggesting that the ability to balance on one leg for around 10 seconds in older adults is linked to meaningfully better survival odds over the following years compared to those who can't. 10 seconds, that's it. That's the line a lot of people can't cross. Try both legs because almost everyone has a weak side they didn't know about, and the weak side is the one that betrays you in the dark hallway at 3 a.m., on the way to the bathroom. The third test is getting down to the floor and back up. Not gracefully, just safely. Start standing, lower yourself to a seated position on the floor, and then come back up to standing. Notice how many points of support you use. A hand, a knee, the wall. There's a well-known assessment, often called the sitting rising test, studied in adults over 50, where researchers found that needing fewer supports to get down and up correlated with better long-term survival. The fewer hands and knees you have to plant, the better your odds. Now, I want to be careful here. If your knees are shot or you've had a replacement, modify this. Use a cushion, use a sturdy ottoman as a halfway point. The goal isn't to prove something today. The goal is to find out honestly whether you can still get yourself off the floor, because if you can't, a simple fall in your own bathroom becomes a 4-hour wait until someone finds you. That single ability, getting off your own floor, is the dividing line between living alone with dignity and not. The fourth test is grip. This one surprises people. Grip strength is one of the most reliable, simple markers of overall health and longevity that researchers keep finding across large studies, including international work tracking tens of thousands of people. Weak grip tracks with worse outcomes across the board. You don't need a fancy dynamometer that costs $40. Test it practically. Can you open a new jar of pickles, the stubborn factory-sealed kind, without running it under hot water or banging the lid on the counter? Can you carry a full gallon of milk, which is about 8.5 pounds, in each hand from your car to your kitchen without setting it down halfway? Can you hang from a sturdy bar or the top of a doorframe pull-up bar for even 10 seconds? Grip isn't about being able to crush a walnut. Grip is a window into your whole nervous system, and when it fades, it's often the canary telling you the rest is fading too. The fifth test is the overhead reach with a real load. Stand up and take something that weighs a few pounds. A liter bottle of water weighs about 2 pounds, a bag of sugar weighs 4. Press it straight overhead until your arm is fully extended. Ear next to your bicep, no leaning back to cheat it. Now hold it there for a slow count of 5. Watch your shoulder. Does it shake? Does it stop short, like there's a wall at 3/4 extension? Losing overhead reach is sneaky because you stop noticing the top shelf. You quietly rearrange your kitchen so everything you need lies between your waist and your eyes, and you tell yourself that's just being organized. It's not. It's your shoulders surrendering territory, and once that range is gone, putting on a coat, washing your own hair, reaching the smoke detector to change the battery, all of it gets harder, and the world shrinks one shelf at a time. The sixth test is the gait speed and the step up, 2 parts. First, walk across a measured 10 or 12 feet of your hallway at your normal, comfortable pace and roughly time it. Researchers have used gait speed as a vital sign in older adults, and walking slower than about 0.8 meters per second, which is a fairly unhurried pace, has been associated with higher risk down the road. You don't need lab precision. You need to be honest about whether you've started shuffling. Then the step up. Find a stair or a sturdy step about the height of a normal staircase, around 7 inches, and step up onto it leading with one leg, driving all the way to standing on top, then step back down with control. Do it leading with each leg. If you have to haul yourself up by the railing every time, that's quad and glute weakness, the exact muscles that decide whether stairs in your own home stay an asset or become the reason you have to move. So that's the 6. Sit to stand, single leg balance, floor get up, grip, overhead reach with load, and gait speed with a step up. Run them tonight, be honest. Write down which ones felt easy and which ones lit up that warning light. Because here's what almost nobody tells you. Failing these tests today does not mean it's over. It means you found the leak before the dam broke. And the fix is so much simpler than the industry that profits from your decline wants you to believe. Let me tell you the mistakes to avoid. Because the way most older men respond to weakness actually deepens the hole. Mistake 1, they go too gentle. They hear exercise for seniors, and they picture seated arm circles and pointing their toes while watching the morning shows. That kind of movement is fine for circulation, but it does almost nothing for the fast twitch strength that prevents falls. Your muscles adapt to challenge, no adaptation. You have to actually make the muscle work near its honest limit, in a safe, controlled way. Or you're just keeping a chair warm with extra steps. Mistake 2, they avoid the legs because the legs are hard. Of course they're hard. The legs are the biggest muscles you have, and they're the ones that vanished first. Avoiding them because they're hard is like refusing to water the part of the garden that's dying. Mistake 3, and this is a big one. They think more rest is the cure for everything. Rest has its place after genuine exertion, but chronic rest is poison to an aging body. Remember the bed rest data. Strength drains out of an unused older body shockingly fast. Mistake 4, they wait for pain to go to 0 before they move. With stiff joints and old injuries, pain may never hit 0, and waiting for perfect just means waiting forever while you get weaker. The move is to work within a range that's uncomfortable but not sharp, not joint pinching, and to build from there. Now here's the deeper reason all of this got forgotten, and it's worth sitting with. 2 or 3 generations ago, a man in his 70s in most of the world still did physical work or physical chores. He chopped something, he carried water or firewood, he climbed into a truck bed, he got down on the floor to fix a pipe under the sink himself because there was no money to call anyone. He squatted in the garden. The daily architecture of his life forced him to keep the 6 movements we just tested. He never named them as exercise because they were just survival. Then, over a couple of decades, we engineered every drop of that physical demand out of daily life, and we called it progress. The recliner that does everything but tuck you in, the grocery delivered to the door, the single-story layout marketed as aging in place, which too often just means never climbing a stair again, the riding mower, the leaf blower, the grabber tool so you never have to bend. Every one of these is sold as a kindness to your aging body, and every one of them quietly removes the demand that kept your body strong. We didn't lose our strength because we got old. We lost it because we got comfortable, and comfort past a certain point is just decline wearing slippers. There's also a quieter, uglier incentive worth naming. A strong, mobile, independent 78-year-old is not a great customer. He doesn't need the scooter, the lift chair, the home aid, the supplement subscription, the second bedroom converted into a hospital room. The entire downstream economy of decline depends on you believing the decline is inevitable and on you responding to weakness by buying convenience instead of building capacity. I'm not saying every product is evil. A grab bar in a slippery shower is smart. A railing is smart. But the mindset, the relentless message that the answer to a weakening body is to demand less of it, that's the trap. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So let's talk about climbing back out. Because the same body that can lose strength fast can also build it back faster than you'd believe, even in your 70s and 80s. There's published research on resistance training in adults well into their 80s and even 90s showing meaningful strength gains in a matter of weeks. The body never fully stops responding. It just waits, like a dry seed, for water. Here's the practical, do it tomorrow water. Take that sit to stand. If 5 no-hands reps are hard, start with a higher seat. Put a firm cushion on the chair to reduce the distance and do 3 sets of 5, slow on the way down, controlled on the way up, every morning before your coffee. As you get stronger, remove the cushion. That single movement rebuilds the exact muscles you need to rise from any chair, any toilet, any car seat for the rest of your life. For the balance, hold a counter with 2 fingers, lift 1 foot and work up to 10 seconds, then to 30, then try 1 finger, then no fingers, then eyes closed near the counter for safety. Balance is a skill your nervous system relearns with practice, and it comes back. For the floor get-up, practice it daily next to your couch, lowering and rising, finding the path of least support, and over weeks you'll need fewer hands. For grip, carry your groceries in your hands instead of looping them on a cart. Hang from a sturdy bar for a few seconds a day. Squeeze a tennis ball while you watch television. 20 squeezes a side. For overhead, press a light weight overhead, that 2-pound bottle, then a 4-pound bag, 10 reps, and slowly add. For gait and stairs, walk a little faster on purpose for short bursts, and practice stepping onto a low, sturdy step, leading with your weaker leg, control on the way down. None of this requires a membership. All of it requires showing up, most days, for a few minutes. And here's where I want to make your life easier instead of harder, because I know how this goes. You watch a video like this, you feel fired up, and then 3 days later you can't remember whether the balance hold was 10 seconds or 30, or which leg was your weak one, or how many sit-to-stands you were supposed to work up to. The motivation fades because the details get fuzzy. So I put together a simple printable PDF, a 1-page per day kind of thing you can stick on your refrigerator with a magnet. It has all 6 tests with the honest benchmarks, so you can score yourself today and again in 30 days and actually see the change in writing. And it has the matched-up rebuilding routine for each test, written in plain large print with the exact starting amounts, the rep counts, and how to make each one a little harder week by week, all built around things you already own. A chair, a wall, a step, a couple of jugs. There's a column to check off the days because checking a box turns intention into habit. It's a worksheet, not a sales gimmick. The whole point is to take what I just said and turn it into something you can hold in your hand and follow without rewatching this video 10 times. I'll tell you exactly where to grab it at the end. Now, the strongest technique of all, the one I saved for the finale, because it ties everything together and it's the thing the long-lived people in those longevity regions do without ever thinking about it. It's not a special exercise, it's a rule. The rule is, never let your body fully give up a movement pattern the moment you stop getting on the floor entirely. Your body interprets that as permission to delete the ability. The moment you stop reaching overhead, the range goes. The moment you start bracing every stand with your hands, the legs stop trying. Your nervous system is ruthlessly efficient. It does not maintain what you do not use. So the master move is to touch every one of these 6 patterns regularly, even briefly, so your body never gets the message to abandon them. Get on the floor at least once a day for any reason. Stand on one leg while you brush your teeth. 30 seconds aside, you're standing there anyway. Reach for the top shelf on purpose instead of relocating everything down low. Take the stairs when stairs exist. Carry your own bags. Stand up out of chairs without your hands as your default, every single time, until you forget you ever pushed off your thighs. That's the whole secret the longevity villages live by accidentally. You're going to live by it on purpose, which means you might do it even better than they did. Think about what this actually protects. It protects your ability to live in your own home instead of paying $5,000 a month somewhere else. It protects you from the fall that breaks the hip. It protects the dignity of going to the bathroom yourself, dressing yourself, washing your own hair, getting up off the floor when the cat trips you, lifting your own grandchild without fear. This is not vanity. This is not about looking like somebody at the beach. This is about being the 80-year-old who carries his own firewood and gets down to play on the rug with the great-grandkids and gets back up under his own power, while everyone watching quietly realizes he's not like other men his age. That's what one-of-a-kind actually means. Not lucky genes, not a fancy supplement, just a man who refused to surrender the movements, who kept demanding something of his body when everyone around him was busy, demanding less. So here's what I want you to do tonight. Run all 6 tests. The sit-to-stand timed at 5 reps, arms crossed. The single-leg balance, both sides aiming past 10 seconds. The floor get-up, counting your supports. The grip, with the jar and the gallon jugs. the overhead press and hold with a real load. And the Gait Plus step up, write down which ones lit the warning light, then come down to the comments and tell me your number on the sit to stand and how long you held that single leg balance, and tell me your age, because I genuinely want to see the spread, and I promise you it's going to encourage somebody who reads it that they're not alone and they're not finished. Be honest about the ones that scared you. The honest number today is the one that lets you beat it in 30 days. In the next video, I'm going to take this further and walk through the one cheap kitchen change, a specific way of eating protein across the day that research keeps connecting to preserving muscle in older adults, because all the movement in the world fights an uphill battle if you're not feeding the rebuild. Most men over 65 are quietly starving the very muscle they're trying to save without realizing it, usually at breakfast, and I'll show you the simple fix. And when you're ready to stop relying on memory and motivation, grab the printable PDF I mentioned with the 6 tests, the honest benchmarks, and the day-by-day rebuilding routine in large print for your refrigerator. Print it, score yourself today, score yourself again in 30 days, and watch the warning light go dark. You're not aging out of your strength. You just stopped asking for it back. Start asking tonight.